Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and for this very important hearing. And certainly, it is a pleasure to be able to see the former speaker, who I had the privilege of working with. And as the speaker knows, we certainly had disagreements, but it is appropriate to show respect. And to the other witnesses that are here, thank you for your presence as well. We understand that this hearing is important because we're examining the practical impact of our budgetary actions on children and families who must always remain a top priority in everything that the Congress does. The Supreme Court's recent ruling in Dobbs amplifies the urgency of these issues. The court and my colleagues across the aisle who boast of being pro-life must now show Americans and support Americans through every stage of life. Well, let me wake them up. In the year 2020, the United States Census released an official supplemental poverty measure report showing that 11.6 million American children were living in poverty. These 11.6 million children constituted roughly 16% of American children. There is no seeming desire among my friends on the other side of the aisle to make real on their commitment and thought about our children. And so it begs the question as to whether or not we can even have a serious discussion. I want to make sure that we do have a serious discussion. And for that reason, I want to pose these questions to our witnesses that we have here today. Let me ask Dr. Haynes about this whole idea of how we can save children when we embrace family support programs in our budget, including childcare, school nutrition programs, and how much investment that really turns out into, because we're actually investing, if you will, in a future life for these children. Dr. Haynes, can you help us with that?
Yes, thank you very much for this important question. So what we know, which has now really emerged in a decade of broad-based research in social science, is that providing more food and nutrition programs, both from WIC, as Dr. Black has talked about, as well as through SNAP, which I've studied extensively, as well as school meals, that these programs are extremely important in building a foundation for future economic and health success among our children. And in particular, the work that I've done on SNAP shows that the years in particular up to age 5, perhaps because school meals kick in once kids are in kindergarten, we don't really know for sure, but that those years are particularly sensitive years for generating a good foundation for children, and a good foundation that yields a broad range of improved outcomes in their adulthood. And these outcomes take some time to emerge. You know, we've got a little bit of data when kids are in school on test scores, but really the data starts to become much more available once we have completed education, high school, college going, labor market connections, as well as kind of health and adulthood. So that is sort of the basic formula that we see emerging from the research on food and nutrition programs. We also find that programs that are a bit less targeted, not in kind, so the earned income tax credit, as well as some evidence on the available.
Thank you, Doctor. Yeah. I'd like to pursue that with our other witnesses, Dr. Black. Thank you so very much. We know that there are millions of Americans who face food insecurity every day. Dr. Black, you deal with nutritious food, but I also want you to stretch a little bit to give the impact of the child tax credit that the American Rescue Plan provided a lifeline during the pandemic, when really there was a mountain of unemployment, frustration, depression, what to do with our children. Can you just quickly respond to the importance of fighting against food insecurity? Remember the backdrop of President Reagan, who made ketchup a vegetable. Can you quickly do that? I know our time is short. Doctor?
Yes, thank you. You have raised, I appreciate the question. It's such an important issue. Food insecurity beats at the really heart of American children. What families do in order to assuage hunger is that they give children low-cost food that is very low in vitamins and minerals and very, very unhealthy for children. So these are foods like, without naming a product, things like noodles. So they fill you up, but they eat away at your really at your health. I'm part of a group called Children's Health Watch that studies food insecurity and strategies to reduce food insecurity throughout the country. This is a major, major problem in our country that during a time of early brain development that we really cannot afford not to invest. The cost of not investing in these children is something we will all as a country pay for. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And I'm glad we're on the side of investing in our children. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.